Do I like you because you're white? No! And yes, the truth isn't black or white here, and it certainly involves much more than melanin content. Some assume that because I want European countries to exist, because I like to live in a white neighborhood, and because I'm against mass immigration into the West, they think it means I automatically like anyone who is European, aka white. It comes down to this. There are some white folks I love. Some I mostly align with politically, but don't like personally. There are some I can't stand and view as enemies. There are some I feel sorry for, and others I don't feel anything about and wouldn't miss if they disappeared. But it's not as though I see a white person and say, "Hi, white person, I love everything about you just because you're white." I don't know anyone who could possibly feel this way. Well, not too long ago, all the people I ever saw were white, and I certainly didn't like every person I met. I didn't even think about being white until mass immigration and becoming a minority in my town. That's when I realized what I prefer: living in a white country and a white neighborhood. Yeah, I said it. I like living around mostly white people. My experiences otherwise haven't been the best. Do blacks have to explain why they prefer living around blacks? Do Jews, Asians, Muslims, or Latinos? It doesn't require an explanation, unless you're white. I know I'd feel completely out of place living in a black, Latino, or Asian neighborhood, and so would most white people. It's why you rarely see it. And so what? And non-Europeans say that they feel uncomfortable being a minority in a white neighborhood. I prefer my white neighborhood because I understand them the best. I know how to talk to white people, even liberals who hate me because I like my white neighborhood. Well, as it turns out, so do they. I'm just honest about it. I know we have a shared culture of certain attitudes and behaviors that I can predict. There are specific non-political things we like as a group, the things other groups always like to make fun of, but it's what has made our countries places others want to come live in. If I keep it light, I could like many fellow Hawaiites. I know how to keep the peace even if I fully disagree with my neighbor, because I know how we as a people operate. Even if my neighbor hates me, I can predict how they'll respond. In a white way. And by the way, I get along just fine with my immediate neighbors, even liberals. But I know I feel most comfortable living around white folks because there are some things I don't have to worry about. You know, the things that make others want to move to our neighborhood. Generally, though, most of us are still friendly, approachable, and can be reasoned with. I like our way of life, our shared culture of European interests and things. Our work ethic and outlook, which makes us succeed. I like that we create safe neighborhoods, good schools, and systems that function. I like that we are creative, inventive, and adventurous. I like the things that make us who we are as a group. Not every single thing, but many things. That certainly doesn't mean there aren't non-Europeans who are capable of these things and some who aren't truly nice people. But I don't need to become a minority in my country, my neighborhood, because of it. If I want the foreign experience, I can get on a plane. Some have asked, would I rather live with white liberals or non-European immigrants who are mostly good people and leave me alone? I actually live with both right now, and the white liberals have made the effort to get to know us, but the non-Euros have not. And they are very different in their interactions with their own group versus me. I see it all the time, and that's because they prefer and are most comfortable with people they have most in common with. And you know what? It doesn't offend me. There's also a difference when it comes to the wealth of a neighborhood. Whites who live with wealthy Asians or Indians talk about loving diversity, but the majority flooding into the West aren't rich, nor do they care about preserving European culture. They don't even know what it is. The majority of my friends are of European descent, those I can relate to and talk about everything with. Sure, there's always exceptions, but in my experience, I haven't had other friendships that have lasted or been as close. And that's true for most other peoples too. It's not bad, not wrong, not going to lead to a race war. It's just the way it is, and we shouldn't force it otherwise. A black woman is going to relate to her black woman friend the most. No one calls that racist. Each group shares a genetic makeup that is years in the making, with shared ancestors, history, and culture. It creates a strong bond whether you are conscious of it or not. No one questions this fact with other racial or ethnic groups, only the generic white category as though it's a dirty thing, but it is part of who we are. Not everything, of course, but of a lot. I don't like every single white person I meet. It's a mixed bag, but that doesn't mean I don't care about what happens to us as a people. The truth isn't always black and white, and race, ethnicity, relationships aren't skin deep. Thank you, Red Ice members, for all your support. We truly appreciate it. More exclusive videos coming up.